Good evening, everybody. The Islanders baseball team welcoming some big names to Whataburger Field over the next few days with the Kleberg Classic among the teams coming to town. Ohio State out of the Big Ten, and tonight's opponent, BYU. A&M Corpus Christi facing off against the Cougars in the Classic's opener tonight. Here in the first, BYU threatening runners at the corners. One out. Now Leo Perez on the mound for the Durs, and he's going to get the strikeout. Swinging. Perez would eventually get out of the jam, keep the game scoreless. Now in the bottom of the first, Islanders trying to get something going. Enrique Sanchez Jr. delivering a base knock to left, leadoff single. Now he would eventually advance to second. Nobody out. So A&M-CC now trying to get him home, but Itchy Burt's looking. Then later, Nick Anderson trying to deliver. He also goes down looking. BYU would get out of that jam, and the Cougars go on to put up some late runs. They get the win. 6-2 the final tonight at Whataburger Field.